This is the Frank and Friends show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
Hi, Kathryn Frady.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well, thank you.
Glad to be back.
I enjoy it when you're here very much, and I enjoy it when you follow us on all the audio podcast apps and on YouTube. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers and smash that button for notifications so you don't miss any of our podcast episodes or our Seymour Smokies adventures. I've done a couple with fashion model Victoria Henley. I've got one with you that's coming out soon. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And anytime you're in town, if you want to... Actually, then I also have to do the payoff from the Marble City Opera fundraiser, where somehow I allegedly came up with this idea, which I don't think I did.
No, that was all me.
Yeah, she says, I get notified that, Frank, you've donated an item to the Marble City Opera fundraiser.
I did call you.
Yeah.
After I already pitched the idea to everybody and everyone liked it.
I was told after it was agreed upon.
Correct.
I was told, oh, by the way, you're donating something to the auction. I said, I have nothing of value. And it turns out that I do.
You are of value. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. So the idea is that you've seen these, if you've subscribed to us on YouTube, you've seen me go with Kathryn to, we do mountain coasters, we do moonshine tasting, we do pretty much everything in between, but mostly mountain coasters and moonshine tastings.
I mean, yes.
If you want to be honest.
And cider tastings.
We're kind of lumping
tastings.
all the tastings into the same category.
And axe throwing.
If it turns out to be a tasting, you should come too.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Because anyway, so the point is that now the lucky auction winner gets to go with me on one of these adventures, and you'll see it on YouTube. So that's why you want to definitely subscribe. And now my friend Bean, though, he's my best. I love listening to Bean's podcast. He's the one who lives in New Orleans and said you should drop by and visit. Yeah. But he gets so mad anytime I mention my passion for figs, because he says you need to have a separate podcast called Frankenfigs.
I mean, I think that you do. Obviously, you need to have
How do I have time?
Figs.
I barely have time for this podcast. How do I have time for a spin-off podcast?
I don't know. You just have to make time for things that are important.
Well, okay. Did you notice how much press I've been getting myself for the Scholars Bowl?
Yes.
I have been working it.
You have.
I have been in dozens of small newspapers all over, from Rogersville to Johnson City to Greenville to Farragut to Maryville.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so I just decided, I Googled I found there's a press association, every small paper in East Tennessee, and because Scholars Bowl has kids from all these high schools, I just said, hey, Greenville High School is going to be on the show on whatever day. And they write back, oh, tell me more. Same thing with Rogers.
Oh, that's
sorry, I didn't mean to hit you in the face. Rogersville or Athens, they're all these small papers. Like, well, they're starved for content.
That's great.
And I've got a picture of their high school kids going like this, ready to be on the show. Boom.
Doing your own press.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then Channel 6 was kind enough to have me on.
Well, that's good.
Multiple times. Including I brought these some actual questions to quiz Tala, Shatara, and Veronica Ogbe.
Nice. I thought that was fun.
I think they thought that I was going to make the questions
easy.
You know, like about the Kardashians or like Trivial Pursuit.
They would know. Yeah.
No. I said, what type of plant is a cactus that has a stomata that opens at night to reduce transpiration? And they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? It's a succulent. It's just a succulent is all the answer. But no. So then I thought I could, I don't know.
That's mean. That's mean.
I asked
it's kind of mean. Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, it's very funny. So back to the figs, though,
the figs.
Frank, because I showed up.
I got a fig plant. Look at that back there.
I mean, I showed up here and there are no more fig trees.
Well, you only saw the front of the house.
Yeah.
You only looked at the front figs, the front-facing figs, which are 1, 2, 3. There's 4 fig trees along the driveway.
I mean, I want to know, how cold did it get while I was gone? Did it destroy the figs?
No. These are fairly resilient figs. They're all brown turkey figs.
Okay.
And I went to a fig event, and I learned that I'm the Figgest loser because I have brown turkey figs, and all these people, although being polite, made it pretty clear that they were looking down their noses at brown turkey figs.
Yeah.
And
there's a little discrimination going on there.
Yes, I should have the more delicious, the finer figs in life, much better. So I have thought, well, I've got all these brown turkey figs, and they've been very productive. I still have hundreds of figs in the freezer that we never have crushed into jam yet.
Okay.
Still got to deal with all that. And, oh, hello.
Ding.
So, so I thought, meanwhile, our big fig, which is now coming up on 10 years old, got that in July of 2013.
Same age as Marble City Opera. Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. Same time that Megan and her husband were married. I mean, in fact, I got it that same week practically.
So it's like an important fig tree in our lives.
It's big fig. It's got a good root system. I did a really good job of making this tree. You saw how huge it was. It was unmanageably huge.
And now it's gone.
It was 12, 15 feet tall, and now I've cut it down to the height of my knees. So what is that, 3 feet?
It seemed smaller than 3 feet.
Maybe 2 feet?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I've trimmed them all down to basically the height of my knees. And the idea being is that in the spring, when they grow back, they'll be at a more manageable height so that I can harvest the figs, instead of 12 feet in the air, I can get the ones that are 6 feet in the air.
But couldn't you have just trimmed it down to 6 feet?
I did that last year or the year before.
And you didn't like it?
Well, what happens is it starts growing from that point up.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe 4 feet?
Well,
it's gone. It was very sad to me. You had warned me that the fig tree was going to be gone.
Well, wait till you see it in the spring, in the summer, when it'll burst forward. I'm assuming, because the actual fig fruits, the fig flowers, which are not really fruits, but they're flowers, they only develop on new growth. Okay. So any of that old growth, you saw out the window, I've got just huge piles of fig wood that I need to chop up and turn into, barbecue chips or something like this. Not the kind you eat, but the kind that you put in your barbecue smoker and burn to give delicious fruit-flavored smoke to the chicken that you're cooking. But yeah, so all of the new growth will have figs on it.
Okay.
I'm counting on it, I'm hoping. But the other side of it, Kathryn, is I learned the hard way that I have brown turkey figs. And I feel bad because my friend Nancy in New York, my librarian friend Nancy, gifted me this fig tree. She did all this research to find one that would thrive in my area.
And it has.
Boy, has it. Yeah. Not only do I have big fig and the other two that I've trimmed, but I have 20 offshoots of that tree in the backyard that are still there.
Okay,
so I have...
The grandchildren are still there.
I have so many brown turkey figs all over. Anytime I had an extra one, I would cut a branch, or a branch would break, I would immediately go bury it somewhere. And I have fig trees potentially popping up
everywhere,
all over. I buried one in next door neighbor Ted's yard. Yeah, I mean they're all over. I gave one to my friends Jeff and Kristen when they were here to do a fill-in podcast.
So are you going to have like a fig vineyard?
I think it's an orchard.
Is it an orchard?
I mean, we could make wine. You probably could make fig wine and turn it into that.
But you'd probably like the fig wine.
My plan. Yeah, my plan is to have the fig forest outside the kitchen window. So in thinking this, I signed up to go to a fig event in Ooltewah, which is
because they had a fig song.
There's a great song about figs. Yeah. In fact, Bean, I know you're probably not watching at this point, but that would be a good song for your podcast when you do a cup of tea and some jams. The fig song, I'll send it to you. I'll put a link in the description and everything. It's a good song.
It is. It's pretty fun.
It's a fine song about figs. So I go there thinking I'm Mr. Big Shot, right? You actually have to fill out a questionnaire that says, what level of expertise do you have with the figs? Are you a beginner? Are you an intermediate?
So what did you say
Are you an expert?
Yourself?
Well, I humbly chose intermediate. Boy, was I wrong. I don't know squat about growing figs, I learned.
That's amazing.
When I get down there. So neighbor Nancy, who has a fig tree also, decided she would come along since I was driving, right? So that seemed cool. Yeah. And part of it is you're supposed to bring a potted fig plant and to the exchange.
Like this one.
This one is the one I received in the exchange.
Okay.
One of the ones I received in the exchange. I'll explain that. But I dug up 3 of my brown turkeys and put them in pots. One for Nancy to give to the exchange, one for Jerry, and one for me. So now it's a lottery. You put in your plant, and then you pull a number, and then so I got a low number. I was like in the teens, and Jerry and Nancy are up in the 40s and the 50s, there were almost 100 people there.
Wow.
So they have high numbers. I have a good low number, and I have my eye on something called the Violet de Bordeaux.
Nice.
Which is a dark, super sweet, like a fig. So there's some that are like honey, and there's some that are like in different kinds of fruit flavorings. So this one's supposed to be dark and sweet, and that's one that I want. And I've got my eye on it. I'm thinking, I gotta hope nobody picks that one before me. And my number calls, and it's there. And it's also, they have another word for it called Negronne. These guys say, an expert. I said, I want to try to get the Violet de Bordeaux. He says, well, take that Negronne. It's a bigger, they're the same. It's just two different names for the same plant. And this one's probably got better roots and will probably thrive faster. So I took that one. And then Nancy picked something called Blanche, like I guess a white fig.
Sounds
and
fun.
she's planted it over at her yard. And Jerry took this one, which is called LSU, like Louisiana State University. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Don't you live there?
Yes. They have like a fig farm, don't they?
Yeah, LSU in Louisiana is like the primo fig place.
It's amazing.
So they have LSU purple, they have LSU gold, they have, and this is LSU black, okay. LSU Scott black. And Jerry takes this one. And as you can see, I've decided to keep it alive over the winter because it was a tiny little thing, and I up-potted it, and I'm just trying to, I didn't see the point in putting it outside. It didn't seem big enough to put outside.
Right.
Whereas the Negronne, I put outside, and then the whole event is over. And then, well, I shouldn't say that. These experts get up and speak, and the experts are talking about the only thing a good brown turkey is good for is you should just basically cut it down,
which you did,
and graft exotic figs onto the roots, because brown turkeys, they thrive in this area. They've got good roots, and they're good rootstock. So cut them off and just take like fancy weak figs from the Mediterranean, and you graft them on there so you get these special figs.
How do you graft them on there?
Well, there's a whole process. It's complicated.
Amazing.
It's basically, it's like, it's like IKEA. You cut a hole here and you cut a slot there and you stick them together and you wrap them together
with duct tape.
And somehow this thing still grows. I'm not interested in that.
That's bizarre.
It is bizarre. I'm not interested in that. I trimmed my fig trees so that because if I don't get any figs this year, I'm okay. I still got hundreds in the freezer. But they pointed out, he says, the problem with brown turkey figs is they split on you. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head. Because we had so much rain in July that these figs fill up with water and they burst open before they're fully ripe.
I see.
So yeah, you can use them for jam, which is what I'm going to do with them, because you're basically mashing them up and adding sugar anyway. Right. So they can make good jam, but they're not fancy figs. And
what are you going to do with the fancy figs?
Well, I'm going to try to grow some. I'm going to try to grow some LSU Scott Black. I'm going to try to grow some Negronne. I'm going to try. This one girl said, I have an extra Dominic. Well, okay.
Why not?
So I took an extra Dominic, which is named after some guy from Italy who kept handing it down in his family.
Interesting.
In Brooklyn, and then now it's been propagated all over. This one fig tree from Italy.
Wow. Has
been propagated. I've got a little bit of a Dominic out there. So I've got all of these ones. And I bought a Little Miss Figgy at the...
But it's different than the song, like a little bit of Monica. It's not that, a little bit of Dominic in my yard.
That's Mambo number 5 by Lou Vega. Or Lou Vega. So I feel stupid because I find out all these things. And so at the end of the day, no one said anything bad about brown turkey to my face.
Right.
They just, in their presentations, just kept dissing it, kept talking about how bad it is. So at the end of the day, the table where we've all done our white elephant drawings, I've gotten this LSU, and neighbor got the Blanche, and Jerry got the, I got the Negronne, Jerry got this, whatever. We each have our fig.
Right.
And they're like, well, there's a couple left over. Anybody can just have them. Some that didn't get picked. And I look over there. And I'll be darned if the figs that are sitting lonely on the table that nobody picked are my brown turkeys.
Are they the only ones left?
Yeah.
The poor little brown turkeys.
So I went over there and I just, I'm trying to erase the words brown turkey off the side that I've written on with crayon.
So sad.
I'm trying to erase that. And I just take them and I'm like hiding it that I have it. And we take it back to the car. And I've since planted them around the yard.
Right, because why not?
Because I
They're
figured,
still good.
I feel bad about it, but nobody picked them. But I mean, fair and square, I got these in the drawing.
Right.
You know, so I'm now leaving with twice as many figs as I brought because
Seems like a good deal.
I am taking back the ones that I brought that nobody wanted, and also these other ones that I got. Plus, at the last minute, like I said, the girl gave me, here's a Dominic mister, take this Dominic fig. And
I mean, I think that's a good trick, you know. Like, you don't actually do a trade. You bring your brown turkey
bring terrible figs that nobody wants.
No one will want them, and you still leave with your original brown figs and so many more. It's great.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Sounds like you won that day.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, as it got cold right before the frost, I went out and I trimmed all those ones in the back too, so that they would be down and in the roots and the mulch and whatever. And I've got in the basement. I told Jerry I was going to try to grow 6 cuttings in the basement. I ended up doing 18. There's 18 cuttings going down there.
Wow.
So most of them some of them are going to die. They're not all going to make it, but I could end up.
This has been a preview of the new Frank and Figs show.
But when you're digging in the ground, the last thing you want to find is a dead body. And if you did, you would call Dr. Bill Bass or his students at the Body Farm, because Dr. Bill Bass at bonezones.com, don't forget the S, can tell you all about dead things in Tennessee. You know, whether he's digging up a body to identify it and telling the story about why he needed to create the Body Farm, or whether there's, in this book, Carved in Bone, is set in the fictional Cook County, which is really Cook County. And they find a body in a cave, and it looks fairly fresh, but it's actually turned into grave wax. She's turned into adipocere because of the humidity in the cave. So basically, this body, who still looks intact, is really just a mass of gelatinous goo. So that's an exciting story that you might want to...
Sounds delicious.
You might be interested in the Carved in Bone or some of the other fine souvenirs. Like, I think I've got... Here's a hat. Here's an orange hat, Kathryn.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
I don't know if that goes with your outfit.
Doesn't, but...
Oh, then take the black hat.
There we go.
You can wear it be a black hat.
Okay.
That's a term for, I think, a bad hacker, black hat.
A black hat?
I mean, it's a term for, in the cowboy movies. That's how the villains wore black hats.
Right.
So I think in computer
better.
world, white hat versus black hat tells you if you're a hacker who is trying to...
If you're a hero or...
Yeah. If you're trying to do bad or do good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right.
So go Vols. Bonezones.com. Don't forget the S for all the fine merchandise. You can get them to sign any of this stuff or the books.
And they have an event coming up.
Yeah, look for Dr. Bass and me in February 25th. It's a Saturday, Sevierville Convention Center at the Rose Glen Literary Festival. That's why I put the Rose Glen mug behind us. Right. And I leave it. I know you're not going to eat one on camera because neither would I, but these are some kind of exotic
alligator.
Abdallah chocolates from Minnesota. Ooh. They're like turtles, but they don't have nuts in them,
Texas
so they call them
pecans.
Alligators. So you can have some of these.
I'm going to keep that alligator.
Yeah, sea salt caramel. And this was a gift, Christmas gift from Dr. Al Hazari. I did a radio show on Lake FM from his postal annex. And he gave me a tin of these Abdallah chocolates that they sell over there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I thought that was exciting. He said the family came from like Syria in the 1910s.
Wow.
Or 20s. They've been over in Minnesota for 100 years making these chocolates. And he sells them. He sells them at Postal Annex.
Nice.
I don't know. Fancy.
Nice. Okay.
I'm not doing a commercial for that. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe we should.
But Dr. Al Hazari, only know Al Hazari because I know Bill Bass. It's one of those things,
They're all connected.
Yeah. Like I was explaining to someone, I'm going to talk about our dear friend Brandon Gibson who passed away. So get ready. Do you have tissues?
I'm ready.
Okay. I always have to have tissues for when I make the co-host cry. But I was been talking about him a lot lately because, he was on the cover of Blank magazine because he is a huge part of the Knoxville community. And people seem surprised that I knew him because everybody knows him from a different slice of life.
Right.
If you know him from the acting world, like Rachel Norman, the beautiful actress Rachel Norman, who was a voice in the Nativity pageant, she was telling me how she and Brandon knew each other in college, and they even ended up having to room together on a trip, some kind of acting youth group trip.
Right.
And she told this funny story about how he snored.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was loud snoring.
She says, you think he was loud as singing, you should hear him snore.
Snore, yeah. That's great.
And so these other, all these other people, in the improv world who came to the funeral, or the radio world, or blah, 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 all these other slices that aren't the opera world. And when I explained to them, I said, the reason I know Kathryn Frady, the only reason I know Kathryn Frady is because of Brandon. He introduced me to her. So.
This is Brandon's fault.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was headed with it.
Yeah, I've been cursing him for days, but he left me with you.
I remember, you like to tease me that I don't remember our first interview on the radio, but I do remember Brandon calling me and saying, oh, hey, would you give us some publicity for Marble City Opera? I mean, I can send this lady over.
I can send Kathryn.
Yes.
Who's Kathryn?
So that's nice.
Yeah. It's good. Good time.
Well, I want to tell you a quick story about, how's your dog? How's Sasha doing?
Sasha is great. She got she got so many toys.
Are you going to make her own TikTok or her own Instagram?
I've considered it, but I don't have the time.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right? Yeah. So I just let her film my own personal Instagram and Facebook. With all the cute photos, because she's adorable. And because she got a whole lot of new toys and clothes at Christmas. I mean, she got more than the rest of us did. She's a spoiled dog.
Well, my sister is like you in some regards, and both my sisters have dogs. And I found out my youngest sister apparently now has 2 dogs, and I guess she got a puppy around Thanksgiving or I don't know. And someone saw a picture on Facebook and wrote to me and said, your sister got a new dog. I'm like, yeah. What's the dog's name? I'm like, I don't know. How would I know? I don't know. The other dog's named Callie. The new dog is named, I can't remember.
Do you know now? I mean, come on.
I just went out of my head, but it was something really basic, like Buddy or some, I can't remember.
Okay.
I apologize.
Like dog.
And my other sister, the middle of 3, she's had a dog named Charleston for quite some time, to the point where Charleston has been with her for a while, and she's actually thinking about getting a puppy. I think she's even talked to someone and has made arrangements for when she goes back up to New York, she's getting another puppy from somebody who has a litter of puppies.
Right.
Or knows they're going to have a litter. So she's telling me about the dog. She's like, yeah, Charleston has a UTI, and I'm taking him to the vet. And I say, huh, and I stop myself.
What were you going to say?
I cut myself off right there. I made the sound, huh. And there's silence on the phone.
She knew you were going to say something.
She says, you were going to ask how old he is. You were going to say, how old is Charleston? Which is 100% correct. I was exactly, because I'm thinking, if this dog, how much are you going to spend
on this dog?
On this dog's UTI.
Who's already on its way out. How old is Charleston?
She wouldn't tell me.
Oh. So old. Poor dog.
Yeah. I mean, she takes care of him, but
that's good.
She's at the point but he can't really walk that well, so I take him to water therapy. Or I take him, she's got this thing, and he's not a small dog.
He's a big dog.
But she's got this vest with a handle on the back of it that he wears all the time. And she takes him to places where he can swim.
Okay.
And do
water
aerobics. He can kind of walk. I mean, he can make it to the food dish, but he can't run and frolic and play. But she throws him in the water and he can paddle and keep himself alive.
Have you seen that television show? It's a British television show called Vicious.
No.
Oh my gosh, you would love it. Sir Ian McKellen is in it, and he and his partner have this dog that is basically cannot move anymore. And it sits in the kitchen in its dog bed, and it just sits there the entire time. It cannot move, but they'll walk into the kitchen and it starts to growl at them, or, tries to bite them, or they think it's dead half the time. Yeah, I think you would enjoy that.
Is it a real dog playing the immobile dog?
I don't know.
Because they could do that with a puppet too.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
An animatronic, motionless dog. It'd be pretty easy to do.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Well, how's your phone? What kind of phone do you have? I need to get a new.
Do you need a new phone? I have.
New one badly.
I have no idea. Let's see. Settings. It's an iPhone of some kind.
It's about like a 12, right? It's pretty nice.
It's a 12.
Yeah.
iPhone 12 Pro.
It looks good.
Thanks.
So I'm still
Especially my Franken friends.
Oh yes, Jerry and I were got a memory on Facebook at Christmas time, showing that we had our 5 years ago we got our phones.
Okay.
So 5 years is a long time,
Especially in phone world.
In phone world.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point now where I have to keep it plugged in all the time.
Oh, so it doesn't lose its battery.
Because it'll go down to nothing, go down to 1% very fast. But then even at 1%, it still lasts for. It's a lot. It lies to me.
Right.
The 1% lasts a long time.
Are you closing all your apps?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm watching.
Doing all the things?
I've been studying these YouTube videos about all the settings you need to turn off. And it said you should go ahead and update the software because it's constantly in the background trying to update your software or download the new version. So I got the new version of 16.2, whatever the latest and greatest thing is, right? And also now I've got my AirPods. So I've got my AirPods in this. And I love using, I enjoy using, Amazon Alexa, but I've also now started to really get into the SIri business.
Right.
Because my stupid phone, every time I plug it into Apple CarPlay and I turn on the car, it starts playing the shower scene from Psycho. It's called The Knife, and I have the Psycho soundtracks. I bought it from Apple Music, right? I didn't know that every time I start the car, it's going to be It's
pretty good.
It's pretty bad. So, but I'm also got the car in reverse. My hands are busy. You can't
do anything.
I can't do anything except listen to this murder music. So it occurred to me, and while I'm backing up, I said, "Hey Siri, stop." Oh, sorry.
And it did?
Yeah.
There's nothing to stop here. Check if the device is on your home Wi-Fi network.
Now, do you hear that beautiful Irish lilt?
Yeah, it's nice.
I was so happy to figure out how to get it back because I update the software. This is yesterday, and it starts talking to me, and it sounds like it usually, when I get a text from you, it says, "You have a text message from Kathryn Frady."
That sounds nice.
Or it tells me, your wife Jerry is calling. It's so lovely, and I love it. It relaxes me. Because we turned it 5 years ago when we went to Ireland, we changed, we thought, well, that's fun. Let's leave it on Irish SIri, and it's forever.
Yeah.
Well, somehow in upgrading to 16.2, I killed Irish SIri.
Who did you get in return?
I got as if Irish SIri were taken over by the Borg, and so instead of text message from Kathryn Frady, I got text message from Kathryn Fraudy. And I'm like, oh my heavens, this is horrible.
That's great.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
The every time you get on there. And
so I've got this evil robot voice, and it's supposed to still a female voice, but it just sounds like it sounds like it's horrible. So I'm Googling and watching videos and trying to figure out. It says, well, you need to download the Irish voice. I'm going to go there, and it says that it's downloading. It says that it's been downloading for 2 days, and I can't figure out what the heck happened. So it's download, and I'm worried about it. And then I finally figured out something else. It says, what's the problem is when you run out of memory on your phone. And I have plenty of memory on the phone. Sure. It says, but when you run out of memory on the phone, it kicks out your extra SIri voices.
Okay.
And it says, and that could happen when you're installing the new software. It eats up all of your memory temporarily and then frees it up again at the end of the process, right? Because you're bringing down this whole new operating system, and you got 2 on there, and it hasn't kicked out the old one yet. So
you can lose things.
So basically what you have to do, you have to change it back to some other SIri, change it back to American SIri for a little bit, and then reinitiate the process of getting Irish SIri. So obviously it worked. I got it back. So that's my tip for you, is if you have this problem, change back to American, wait a little bit, and then go back to whatever you had, Irish, Australian, South African, English.
That's so crazy, though. No, I don't.
You could change yours to South African, Kathryn.
I don't even know who mine is, but it's not that robot.
Yeah, you'd have American, probably, right?
Probably.
Here, if you go to settings, we can see what you got.
All right, let's see. Settings.
Settings, and then SIri and search. It's not. Go up a little bit. It's on there. There it is. SIri and search, and then try
English.
Well, English, of course.
United
Let me see, where's the
States.
different
American
voices? Let's go up
here.
a little bit. American voice. Okay, yeah.
American
Now,
voice.
pick some of those other voices.
Hi, I'm Siri. choose the voice you'd like me to use.
I don't
That's American.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the
It's
voice
still
you'd
American.
like me to use.
Change
that's
to it.
Australian.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That's British.
That was Australian before?
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That's okay.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That's my
That's
girl.
the Irish.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Now, even
They're all very similar.
well, but then you can change it
I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
within.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like.
Oh,
to
and
use.
so you can choose like the timbre of the voice
Yes.
with.
So first you choose the accent.
Okay, so let's choose British.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the
Obviously.
voice you'd like me to use.
That's obviously the voice we want. Now
All right.
let's try.
Well, you got to go ahead and choose.
I'm gonna try it one.
It still went back to American. You see.
No.
Look at the top.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Hi, I'm
Go ahead and
SIri.
choose cellular
Choose the
data.
voice you'd like me to use.
When you
It's not
keep
changing it.
clearing the thing, yeah, because you keep clearing you have to say you're going to use cellular data to download it. It's just to get past that step. So we're going to go British,
Hi, I'm
Oh, I
SIri.
see.
cellular
I see.
data,
Voice you'd like
Gotcha.
me to use.
and now you can be voice
Hi,
one.
I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
I got you.
Hi, I'm SIri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
So you can do either
Yeah.
or. Now you can cancel it and go back to American.
No, I think like a British Siri,
All right.
a British male Siri seems good.
Well, now you've got choices.
Perfect.
So you see how it's saying downloading.
Yeah, it's taking forever.
Well, it'll eventually work. My problem was I was stuck in this loop of it took, it was on that for days and days. And the
Really?
only way out of it was, and now if you don't have enough
Picked it.
memory, so you're done. The only way out of it was to back out of it and start over.
Gotcha.
So that's my little tech tip. I learned that from one of these different videos.
I'm sure that was really exciting
I know,
watching me try to figure that out.
but we got to hear your different voices.
I know, it's exciting.
So I watch these guys called Pay It Forward, and they have all these. They always tell you what settings to turn off on your phone. Because every time you get an update, Apple or also Droids, they turn these settings back on that eat up your data and eat up your memory.
Right.
So I always go through and watch these videos frequently and turn off all these settings because
That's smart.
Yeah.
So are you going to get a new phone, or are you going to see how long this one will last?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about trying to, I don't know. I'm at the point where we had talked about getting new ones when I got paid from one of my gigs, one of my side hustles. I get the
Right.
the 1099 form and you get the check in a lump sum. If that should be
Right.
enough to cover a phone for one of these side hustles. It's just there's something else came up. I think some other expense came up that we're trying to,
Yeah.
like eggs. We had to buy eggs. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, eggs trump phone for sure. But, I think this last time we actually did the phone payment plan because it comes with like a insurance. So if something happens to the phone, then we get to just go in and trade it.
Oh, yeah.
Trade it in. Yeah.
Apple Care or
Apple Care or whatever
something.
it is, yeah.
Apple, well, we signed up for
Apple
that
nonsense.
too. Yeah, but we use super cheap cell coverage, so we pay $40 a month
That's
for
awesome.
cell phones, but you buy your phone outright. So it's you decide. Do you want to pay it over time or do you want to just do it in a lump sum? So I don't know. I can't even
Too many
say.
choices.
Too many choices.
Too many choices.
Anything else going on in your world before you go back to Operaland?
Operaland.
I mean, I feel like I want to hang on to you because you're headed back to Baton Rouge any second now.
I know. Any second. Flying over. Just kidding.
Do you
Well,
fly?
I'm actually going to. Sometimes I fly and sometimes I drive, but I'm going to be in New York for a weekend.
Fancy.
Yeah, in January coming up and doing some auditions, so that'll be fun.
Are you listening to people audition, or are you singing?
I'm singing the audition.
To get more fancy roles.
That's right. More ghosts to play.
Nice.
Somebody, my hairdresser actually told me, she was like, I think you always play a ghost or somebody who's dying. And I'm like,
When I saw your fancy new hair on Instagram, I didn't
it's
realize
so dark.
I didn't realize it was this dark.
Yeah. I know lighting makes a difference.
Did it get darker since yesterday?
No, it was that dark. I think the light where I was taking the photo just
Okay.
didn't capture how dark it was.
Because I clicked like, and now maybe I should go back and not.
And not like it. Yeah. So my hairdresser says to me, she will sometimes not let me do things.
Yeah.
And so the last time I was there, like 6 weeks or 7 weeks ago, she wouldn't let me go dark again. I was like, I want to go dark. She's like, no, you can't go dark yet. Because she knew Brandon had died and that I was grieving. And she's like...
Look at you. You're all
she's
dressed
like,
in
no.
black. Your
Yeah.
hair is like Morticia Adams.
Yeah, I'm going with the Wednesday look.
Have you watched that show?
I haven't watched it yet, but
Oh, yeah, I think
I
you'll
hear
like
it's
it.
good. But so we were talking about, she was like, well, we could do this, we could do that, you know, and it does actually still have some of the lighter color in it still.
Because she missed a spot.
No, because we decided to leave some texture there, but
Okay.
she
I
was,
see some on the back.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So she was, just to give you an idea, 1 is the darkest you can go.
Oh, all right.
That's black. This is a 2.
Oh, wow. So you're really down in the dumps.
I was at a, right, yeah, well, you know. One of your best friend dies, you go dark.
I am. What was the first thing I said when you got here? I said, Kathryn, I know you're posting all this grieving stuff. I'm a little concerned for you.
I know. Well, okay, but I was, just to give you an idea of how dark it is like I was at like a 5 or a 6 in the hair color. Yeah.
So when I first met you, you were at like a 23?
Probably, with the
It
bleach
was
blonde
so
hair.
blonde. So blonde.
And I thought that's where I wanted to go back to, but I've just been kind of, you know, I was trying to see if I wanted to go lighter and lighter, kind of get back towards my natural hair color, but it's just taking so long. And then I started thinking about it. No one's going to cast me as Tosca if I have blonde hair again. And I was like,
oh, really? Is
whatever.
Tosca dark haired?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you even remember what number your real hair is?
No.
You didn't write it down?
I didn't know. I didn't know there was a number system until just when I got my hair done. So this last, you know.
So what do you do?
week.
Did you keep a sample of it somewhere in a museum that you can go back and say, this is what I...
Well, it's still there in the roots.
Oh. I didn't think of that. That makes actual sense. Should have thought of that.
Yeah, you know.
That's good.
That's how they match it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you one more thing that I was going to tell you at Thanksgiving when you and James were here for Thanksgiving, but it was still a little too fresh.
Okay.
A little too sensitive.
Here we go.
You had the dressing that Jerry made, right? It was nice. Well, there was some drama as she was getting ready to prepare it.
Okay.
She's like, she goes to make it, and there's no celery.
Oh no.
She's freaking out because there had been celery, and there was no celery. And she said, "What happened to all this celery? Did you throw it out?" I said, "Actually, I ate it." She said, "But you hate celery." I said, "I know, but there was nothing else in the house that I could eat because everything was for Thanksgiving. We had no."
You ate the celery.
For lunch I had peanut butter and on celery. That's what I ate for lunch yesterday, and that's the best I could come up with. And I hate celery, and so she was so mad that I ate the celery that was supposed to be for Thanksgiving.
That's hilarious.
Dressing. So she had to rush out to the store and quickly buy new celery before you got here.
That's amazing.
But it turned out okay.
It was great,
Yeah.
even though the celery was on rush demand.
It was fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fresh celery instead of old celery that I
right.
ate, apparently.
That's hilarious, though.
But it was nice having you over because otherwise it would have, kind of. Actually, Christmas was like that. It was just the two of us. It was a little weird.
Was it the first time it was just the two of you for a while?
Since before Megan was born, so
Wow.
yeah,
that is weird. Yeah.
That goes back a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the first year that my dad was in retirement from his pastoral job.
Oh wow! Because
So-
he used to always preach on Christmas.
That's right. I always used to sing "O Holy Night" at their Christmas Eve service.
So you didn't have to do that.
Didn't have to do that. So my older brother actually invited us to come to their Christmas Eve service, which was nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
so we went there and had Christmas Eve with the little kids, which was great.
Well-
Although my nephew's not that little anymore. He would be mad if he heard me say that. He's taller than I am.
No, I know what you mean. That Jerry sings at that 4:00 mass on Christmas Eve, and she sang "Oh Holy Night."
Mm-hmm.
And Kristen Farley, I don't know if you remember her from the news, but she was there, always goes up and says, "Oh, Jerry, I got to hear you sing "Oh Holy Night."
Nice.
And
Nice.
I didn't go to that one. I wanted to go to midnight mass.
Right.
So my wife is like, "Well, I'm singing at the 4:00 and I'm singing at the 10:00, and then you still want to go to the midnight at a different church." I'm like, "Yeah."
So she was in church all day.
Because I wanted to go to the fancy big cathedral
Sure.
with the smells and the bells,
Yeah.
and all the incense and everything. So I actually dropped her off for the 10:00 mass so she could sing, including the 9:30 prelude. So I dropped her off like 9, and I went back and picked her up at 11, and then we went to the cathedral for the midnight mass with all the big hullabaloo.
Nice.
And I saw these people there who are not Catholic. I'm like, "Hey, nice church you got here. We just wanted to come." just wanted to come visit, like Ernie Roberts and some friend of his. Like, yeah, we just wanted to,
like experience it, because
Yeah.
it's a thing.
And you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's great. There's a lot of people do that on Christmas Eve. They come, they just want to see all of the
Yeah, I did
stuff.
that one time with a friend of mine back in Dallas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun times.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we're done here. I mean, I have all these other stories, but I don't want to hold you up because you got to get to work. I'll hope to see you again before you leave town.
Yeah, hopefully.
And have a lovely time. Meanwhile, if you go to audibletrial.com/Frank and Friends Show, you can get this podcast and anything else you can imagine. Think of a book. If there's an audio book version of it, you can listen to it, stream it across your devices, take advantage of the premium membership. You get a free 1-month premium membership at audibletrial.com/Frank and Friends Show. And during every month of your premium membership, you get a credit for an MP3 download. So use it on what I would say is the longest book you could find. Get a good 7-hour book and for when you're driving back and forth to
That'd be great.
Baton Rouge
Yeah.
and such. Check it out. If you keep the membership, great. If you decide against it after a month, well, that's your choice, but they'll make it as good as they can. Really want you to sign up and listen to stuff, podcasts, custom audio entertainment, and of course, just
Frank and Friends
thousands upon thousands upon thousands of audiobooks, new ones coming out every week.
Absolutely. And the Frank and Friends Show.
Yes, you could totally listen to us. Are you going to listen to that Prince's new book?
Oh, maybe.
I don't.
I did watch the...
You're half British. You should listen to half of it.
Okay, I'll listen to half of it.
You're only half British.
Well, which half?
Well,
Should
maybe,
I pick and choose?
I would maybe
every other chapter.
Maybe just the odd numbered pages.
Okay.
Or the even numbered pages, whichever
Yeah.
you pick. Whichever side you think.
Yeah, is the most important.
Yeah. Just as you're listening, you hit skip 1 minute forward every so often.
That would be good.
Anyway, you can also find our merch at frankandfriendshow.com/store and check out the mugs, check out the beach towels, check out the paintings on the back wall, check out all the things, the fancy iPhone cases. I will get myself, if I get a new phone, I'll get a branded iPhone case as well.
Yeah, it's held up really well.
I'm glad. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it took a beating, which means your phone did not take a beating.
That's correct.
That's the whole point of it.
That is the whole point.
Yeah,
It does show that I have dropped it.
Good.
And that it's being protected.
I'm glad because you can always get a new case that's cheaper than a phone.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Lovely. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends. Maybe take this link and send it to somebody who really is into minute details about both iPhones and figs.
Exactly. This is a spin-off episode. A preview.
It's the iFig episode. Yeah, we put the I in fig. It's a very, very niche audience, so thank you so much for watching. Hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes, including when I take Frady to get some Peruvian chicken. I'm excited about Peruvian chicken.
I am too. It's going to be a good time.
So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Yeah. It is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And we'll talk to you next time. Notice how I always do that when I know you're leaving town. It's like I don't want to end the show. It's like I'm just going to
keep going.
I'm just stalling. I'm just trying to keep you here longer, but I know that you have to go. I'm sorry. It's all right. It's a fatal flaw.
It's okay.
All right.
I'll just run.
I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.